You know what's more shocking than a Boxing Day goal drought? Us being late with this episode. Welcome to Across the Pitch, episode 22, where we break down all the drama, the chaos, and the absolutely laughable misses from yesterday's Premier League matches. Yeah, we took a Christmas break. Don't judge us. But trust me, the stories we've got today are worth the wait. One team can't stop climbing, another can't stop falling, and one manager is bringing death metal football. Curious yet? You should be. Let's dive in. All right, listen up. Manchester United's train wreck of a season just found another way to derail itself. This time, courtesy of Bruno Fernandes' boot and a bucket of bad decisions. For the third time this season, our boy Bruno saw red. Yes, 3 times. Tottenham, Porto, and now Wolves. He's completing a hat trick of stupidity. But hey, at least he's consistent, right? So there's Bruno, off the pitch 2 minutes into the second half, leaving United with 10 men. And guess what Wolves did? Oh, they didn't just sit back and relax. Matheus Cunha, the Brazilian magician, decided to humiliate Andre Onana with a corner that went straight in. That's right, straight in. For the second time in 3 games, United's defense got clowned by a corner kick. First, Son Heung-min. Now, Cunha. At this rate, they'll be conceding goals from throw-ins next week. But wait, there's more. In the dying seconds of added time, because of course United were chasing an equalizer, Cunha thought, why not? And served up Hwang Hee-chan a delicious tap-in to make it 2-0. It was like a Wolves training session, except the Cones were wearing United jerseys. And speaking of United, let's talk about their genius strategy for defending set pieces, or rather, their complete lack of one. Whether it's Andre Onana flapping at crosses or defenders staring blankly at the ball, they've turned their box into a free-for-all. It's like a piñata party, but without the candy. Now, poor Ruben Amorim, United's manager, has 7 points from 6 games and a team that couldn't defend a balloon if you handed it to them. Wolves' new boss, Vitor Pereira? 6 points in 2 games. Who's laughing now? Definitely not United fans. Oh, and just to sprinkle salt on the wound, Bruno's out for Newcastle at the end of the month, and Manuel Ugarte joins him on the naughty list with a suspension of his own. If United thought things couldn't get worse, they're about to face Newcastle and Liverpool back-to-back. 8 points above the relegation zone doesn't seem so comfy now, does it? Dark humor about relegation? Honey, if United keep this up, that joke's going to punch them in the face faster than Bruno kicked Semedo. All right, buckle up, because Manchester City just gave us a masterclass in how not to be champions anymore. A 1-1 draw with Everton at the Etihad against a team parked in 15th? Pep Guardiola must be tearing what's left of his hair out. Let's set the scene. Bernardo Silva does the thing, darting past defenders like it's a training session, and gets a lucky deflection for City's opener. 14 minutes in, 1-0. Easy peasy, right? Wrong. Everton's Iliman Ndiaye decides to remind everyone he exists with a chef's kiss of a goal, curling it into the far corner. 36 minutes in, 1-1, and you could just feel City's confidence evaporate like summer rain. Fast forward to the second half. City gets a golden ticket when Mykolenko clatters into Savinho, penalty. Erling Haaland, Mr. 13 goals this season himself, steps up. But wait, Jordan Pickford channels his inner Superman and saves it. I mean, really? Haaland? A penalty that soft? My gran could have guessed that direction, and she's blind in one eye. Now, Pep throws on the cavalry, De Bruyne, Gundogan, you name it, but it's like pouring perfume on a dumpster fire. Nothing works. City's slick, machine-like football? Gone. Instead, it's slow, clunky, and honestly painful to watch. They're trying to pry open Everton's defense, but Everton's having none of it. Sean Dyche's lads are out there like, not today, Satan! And here's the kicker. City have only 1 win in their last 13 games. 13. This is the same team that waltzed to a treble last year, and now they're 6 points off the top 4 and 11 behind Liverpool. 11. Even Nottingham Forest is ahead of them. Let that sink in. Meanwhile, Everton's over here, pulling consecutive draws against Arsenal, Chelsea, and City. Sure, they're still 15th, but for them, that's like winning the lottery. Dyche must be cackling into his cup of tea right now. As for City, Well, they better fix this mess fast, or they'll be watching the Champions League from their couches next season. And don't even get me started on the jeers at full time, at the Etihad no less. The Emptyhad might be living up to its name soon enough. All right, let's talk Liverpool and Leicester because, wow, this one had a bit of everything. Starting with Leicester, who, let's be honest, are having a season that screams relegation scrapbook material. But they came to Anfield and thought, let's cause some chaos. Jordan Ayew slots one in within 6 minutes. 6! Anfield stunned. The audacity. Liverpool, on the other hand, spent most of the first half playing almost football. Andy Robertson hit the post. Mohamed Salah rattled the crossbar. Honestly, if woodwork counted as goals, they'd have been up by 3. But no, it takes until the absolute last breath of the first half for Cody Gakpo to curl in a beauty and remind everyone, hey, we're Liverpool. We actually score goals. Second half, 4 minutes in, Curtis Jones decides to mark his 100th Premier League appearance by doing what Leicester's defense clearly forgot how to, showing up. A tidy finish off Alexis Mac Allister's cross, 2-1, game flipped. And then, just to make sure Leicester got the memo, Salah sweeps home Liverpool's third. 19th goal of the season for Mo. 19. He's basically farming goals at this point. Now let's talk Leicester. Bottom 3. Relegation zone. It's like they're speed running how to implode after getting promoted. Patson Daka had a chance to equalize but miskicked so badly you'd think the ball insulted his family. Ruud van Nistelrooy's 5 games in charge have brought exactly 4 points. 4. And Manchester City's next? Ouch. Meanwhile, Liverpool are sitting pretty. 7 points clear at the top. Unbeaten in 22 games across competitions. Scarves were out, Anfield was singing, and Salah's dancing his way to another golden boot. Jurgen Klopp, smiling like someone who knows they're that close to another Premier League title. Chelsea fans, brace yourselves, because this one's going to sting. Stamford Bridge, 95 minutes on the clock, and Rodrigo Muniz smashes home the dagger to complete Fulham's historic comeback. That's right, Fulham. The same Fulham that hadn't won at the Bridge in 45 years. Let that sink in. Now, let's rewind. 16 minutes in, Cole Palmer does his thing, smooth as butter, and nets his 26th Premier League goal of the calendar year. Breaking records, giving Chelsea the lead, and making it all look effortless. You'd think they'd build on that, right? Wrong. Chelsea went from looking like title contenders to a group of players who apparently forgot how to football. Fulham smelled blood. Marco Silva, take a bow, because your substitutions were pure gold. First, Harry Wilson pops up in the 82nd minute with a header that says, Chelsea, you thought? Then, in stoppage time, Muniz finishes the job. Low and precise, past Robert Sanchez, and Stamford Bridge descends into stunned silence. And let's not pretend Chelsea didn't have their chances. Mark Cucurella should have scored with that header. Enzo Fernandez? Denied by Bernd Leno, who decided to cosplay as a brick wall for 90 minutes. But here's the tea. This wasn't just about missed opportunities. Chelsea lacked creativity, drive, and frankly, a pulse after Palmer's opener. Enzo Maresca tried to downplay title talks before this, and now? Well, he's probably feeling vindicated. But come on, losing like this? At home? To Fulham? This isn't just a blip, it's a reality check. Liverpool's running away at the top, and Chelsea's title hopes just got slapped harder than a New Year's hangover. Meanwhile, Fulham? They're living their best lives. Silva was out there sprinting down the touchline like he just won the lottery, and honestly, he deserves it. His team was fearless, relentless, and, most importantly, clinical. Chelsea, take notes. Nottingham Forest are officially living their best life. And Tottenham? Well, Spurs are doing what they do best. Disappointing. Let's get into it. Anthony Elanga, remember him? Fired Forest into third place in the Premier League with a slick goal in the 28th minute. That's right, third place. Forest haven't seen form like this since 1995, when Spice Girls were topping charts and people thought floppy disks were futuristic. Elanga's now scored in 3 straight games, officially ending a 10-month drought, and Forest fans are out here singing, "We're gonna win the league." And honestly, with the way they're playing, who's to say they won't? But let's not forget the drama. Jed Spence, a former Forest man, gets himself sent off in injury time. Spurs just couldn't help themselves. If there's a way to collapse, they'll find it. Ange Postecoglou, bless him, spent all of 130 seconds in his post-match presser. That's less time than it takes Son Heung-min to be invisible in big games these days. Oh, Spurs had possession. 70% of it. But what did they do with it? Absolutely nothing. Brennan Johnson tested Matt's cells a few times, but Tottenham's £60 million man Dominic Solanke and son might as well have been ghosts. Ineffective, doesn't even cover it. Meanwhile, Nuno Espirito Santo is over here casually transforming Forest into contenders. Let me remind you, this is the same guy Spurs sacked after 4 months. The man they said wasn't good enough for North London is now flying high in Nottingham, with Forest beating Liverpool, Manchester United, and Tottenham this season. Talk about revenge. So Spurs fans are chanting, "We want Levy out," while Forest fans are chanting, "We're going to win the league." Polar opposites. Nuno's got the city ground buzzing, and Spurs? Well, they're 11 points behind their former manager and showing all the ambition of a soggy biscuit. Newcastle United are back, baby, and they are not here to play nice. A 3-0 win over Aston Villa, and let me tell you, it was dominance from start to finish. Villa, they barely showed up. 80 seconds in, Anthony Gordon curls in a beauty. Not even 2 minutes on the clock, and Newcastle are already on top. Joelinton and Sandro Tonali deserve all the credit for setting it up, but Gordon's finish? Chef's kiss. Villa looked stunned, and honestly, they never recovered. Then comes the drama in the 32nd minute. John Duran, what were you thinking? A stamp on Fabian Schär's back, and it's a straight red. Villa boss Unai Emery was fuming, saying VAR should have been used. But come on, Duran. Kicking water bottles doesn't exactly scream innocent. Down to 10 men, Villa's fate was sealed. Alexander Isak, the man on fire, doubles Newcastle's lead in the 59th minute with his 11th Premier League goal of the season. That's 7 in 6 games for the Swede. Isak is a cheat code right now. And just for fun, Joelinton curls in the third in stoppage time to put the cherry on top. Villa? They had their chances, but Emiliano Martinez couldn't save them from themselves. Newcastle piled on the pressure, hitting the bar, having goals disallowed, and still making it look easy. Villa's 5 straightaway defeats tell you everything you need to know. They're 9th now and sliding faster than a kid on a playground. As for Newcastle, they've scored 14 goals in their last 4 games. 14. Eddie Howe has these boys cooking, and Alexander Isak, he's the main course. 5th place in the table, climbing past Manchester City, and they've got their eyes on European football again. The Toon Army is buzzing, and honestly, they should be. Southampton's big death metal football debut under Ivan Juric? More like elevator music. West Ham strolls out of St. Mary's with a 1-0 win, courtesy of Jared Bowen, and leaves the Saints stuck at rock bottom. Let's get into it. So, Southampton starts hot. They're pressing, they're crossing, they're looking dangerous. Juric's new philosophy is all about intensity, and for a moment, it almost worked. 6'7" Paulo Nuachu was everywhere in the air, but he couldn't convert a single header. Missed one, saved another. Honestly, it's a crime Southampton can't figure out how to use him. West Ham, they weren't exactly cruising. They lost Max Kilman and Lukas Fabianski to injuries early on. Fabianski, by the way, got stretchered off after a collision that left everyone wincing. But did the Hammers fold? Absolutely not. They regrouped, introduced Edson Alvarez, and got on with the job. Then came the moment. 37th minute, Thomas Soucek heads Alvarez's cross back into the box, Niklas Füllkrug flicks it on, and there's Jared Bowen to poke it home. That's Bowen's 100th league goal, by the way. 100. The man knows where the net is. Southampton huffed and puffed in the second half, but it was all bark, no bite. Mateus Fernandes missed a sitter, Tyler Dibbling blasted over in stoppage time, and that was that. West Ham even had chances to make it 2, but substitute Mohamed Kudus decided to have a chat with the crossbar instead of scoring. End result? Southampton stay glued to the bottom of the table with 6 points after 18 games. West Ham, meanwhile, collect 8 points from their last 12 and look like a team that knows how to handle adversity. Jurek wanted death metal football, but what we got was more like a sad cover band at a pub. Southampton needs to figure this out fast, or they're going down faster than a lead balloon. Bournemouth and Crystal Palace served up a Boxing Day stalemate that had everything except the one thing that actually matters: goals. For Bournemouth, this felt like the equivalent of trying to push a boulder up a hill, only to have it roll back down every time. 18 attempts, 4 on target, 0 goals. Do the math. It's not adding up. The Cherries were coming off a high, fresh from a 3-0 win over Manchester United, but apparently left their shooting boots at Old Trafford. Antoine Semenyo was everywhere, slicing wide, heading narrowly off target, doing everything but finding the back of the net. Milos Kerkez looked sharp on the left, Justin Kluivert was linking play nicely, and even Evan Nielsen came off the bench with some bite. But when it came to that final touch, absolutely nothing. Crystal Palace, meanwhile, were just happy to still be standing. After back-to-back defeats to Arsenal, they showed up ready to scrap. Eberechi Eze's return added some spark, but it was more of a flicker than a flame. Ismaila Sarr thought he had scored, only to be caught offside. And when the Palace defense wasn't dealing with Bournemouth's relentless waves of attack, they were busy giving the ball away like it was Christmas morning. In the end, Bournemouth's efforts were fruitless, leaving them stuck with a point that feels more like a missed opportunity. 6th place in the table is nice, sure, but sitting 1 point ahead of a floundering Manchester City isn't exactly comforting. As for Palace, they're still hovering uncomfortably close to the relegation zone, but hey, a point's a point. They'll take it, even if it wasn't pretty. For Bournemouth, time to find that finishing touch, or start praying their defense can handle the pressure, because they can't keep wasting games like this. And that wraps up episode 22 of Across the Pitch. If you enjoyed this breakdown of yesterday's matches, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Got thoughts, hot takes, or just want to vent about your team? Drop them in the comments. We love hearing from you. We'll catch you in the next one, but until then, stay tuned, stay passionate, and we'll see you across the pitch.